Let's see, we're going to review this James Tour 20-minute hit and run. My position is that he didn't really say anything. He just did his standard little show that he does for the religious people. Take a look at some of it here.
So at every stage, there's a problem with origin of life. You have to make the 4 classes of molecules, and it's not known how to make them, and so that's one problem. And then so once you have to make the amino acids, and once you've made the amino acids, people say, well, we've made amino acids in the middle.
Okay, no, you don't have to make the 4 classes of compounds that we have in modern life, and this is why James Tour is a wonderful synthetic chemist working in nanotechnology. And he complains that biologists don't get it. Well, biologists are going to complain that James Tour just doesn't get it. You don't need the modern mix of chemicals that we have 4.2 billion years after this whole thing started. The first thing you need to know about abiogenesis is that you have to get rid of all of your ideas about what particular biochemicals are going to be involved in this process. Abiogenesis, at the beginning, there was no life, there were no biochemicals of this nature, and that is my first criticism of Thoreau.
Billiuri experiment 60 years ago. The problem with that is that they were all made racemic, so we don't know how to make them in a chiral fashion. Moreover,
right, and that's how it started out, racemic, obviously, because there was no selection for chirality. So abiogenesis research has to deal with the mixture, the racemic mixtures. We don't know much about that chemistry, and that's why we're doing all of these experiments. There's so much to know.
They have to be hooked together. I mean, they're not proteins until you get them hooked together, and then
and we don't need proteins either. I mean, I'm sure all this stuff popped up at some point, but this misunderstanding of how the network of life developed is just incredible. And James Tour is looking at it through his religious, foggy religious glasses, just like everybody else. I don't care how smart or how educated you are. If you're going to let your worldview change what you think, you're not going to come up with valid conclusions.
And it's not easy to hook them together. In fact, if you look at a DNA synthesizer, you have many blocking and unblocking and protection steps. So nobody knows how to hook those together in anything at all similar to a prebiotic environment. And then even just hooking them together doesn't solve the problem. You have to have.
And what is a prebiotic environment? If you look at Hubert Yockey, did a rather large book where he believes he proved mathematically that we will never know what that environment was exactly. The abiogenesis is involved in trying to find pathways. Whether or not we find the pathway is the question. I don't think we're ever going to find the pathway. What we're going to find is thousands of pathways. And I think computers are going to have to get a lot better at dealing with what I call microstates and connecting the dots between this immensely complicated network. And we're talking about 10 to the 50 different possible microstates in prebiotic Earth, a churning, boiling sea, sulfur, phosphorus, volcanoes, geysers, vents, ponds, heat and dry cycles, cold and hot cycles. I mean,
have a specific order. It's not just some random a string of amino acids, and you have 20 different amino acids. So you have so many different ways of combining these together, and if it's not right, it doesn't work. All right, and then you have the nucleotides, and the nucleotide is a base. It's a nucleobase, and then it has to be hooked to a sugar, and that sugar has to be hooked to a phosphate. Nobody knows how to do that in a prebiotic-like environment. People can do it in the laboratory, but a prebiotic.
Again, we don't know what the prebiotic life environment was.
Environment, it's very hard, and then nobody knows where that sugar came from.
Right.
Then if you want to make the saccharides, that's a whole nother.
Hey, did you see the shit show last night?
No, I didn't. I actually have a life, even though some people think I don't.
You do. When did you get that?
Well, fuck you. Anyways, how are we doing?
Okay.
So wait, hold on. Who is it? Is James Tour? You know, like the you know, just give me some background. You know, I remember Maddox was like sucking this guy's dick pretty hard. Like, was it yesterday? I believe it was yesterday or the other day. I don't know, but just
they've been sucking it for a while. James Tour is somebody that kind of stumbled on the scene. I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. I'm not sure when exactly. He works in nanotechnology. He builds nano cars and things of that nature. And he had some sort of religious experience, some come to Jesus thing a while back that he talks about. I'm not sure of all of the backstory.
But
then
isn't he the one that, you know, that Maddox and Standing, you know, always cite as, you know, as a reason for why abiogenesis couldn't be a thing?
He is the one. Yep. And he kind of somehow he got in front of a church group and everybody was impressed with him, and then his popularity soared and he's kind of falling into that.
Okay, I'm looking him up now. Okay, so
and he gets on. He's
an American chemist and nanotechnologist. He is a professor of chemistry, professor of material science and nanoengineering, and a professor of computer science at River. Like, okay, you know what he studies is interesting, but he's a material scientist. He has no idea what the fuck about organic chemistry. Which, to be fair, I don't either because I didn't study it yet. But you get the point.
Oh no, he's a pretty serious organic chemist. What he isn't is a biologist, and what he isn't is an abiogenesis researcher. He doesn't know anything about that field other than what he's looked at through his religious belief lens.
Okay, you know, since you know, he is a nano engineer, so he must know a little bit about organic chemistry because
he knows probably as much about organic chemistry as any other man on the planet. So he knows a lot about organic chemistry. That doesn't mean that he's right.
Oh wait, hold on. I found an interesting article on Evolution News, not the most reliable site, mind you. Professor James Tour, a quote unquote liar for Jesus.
Yes, yeah, exactly. He's a liar for Jesus, and I think he's probably even getting paid now. I'm not entirely sure, but Tony and him is just a
James
wonderful.
Tour, Google Scholar. Like, I so want to look into it because I think what he's studying is interesting.
Oh,
but
no, he is a professional. He is an amazing scientist. He's extremely intelligent. So I mean, you can't fault the man on organic chemistry. He knows what he's talking about. What he doesn't understand is abiogenesis. And again, he's looking at it through the Bible. You don't look at this shit through the Bible. If you do,
I mean,
come up the wrong
well, yeah, especially since in the Bible, some people take Genesis literally, which I guess we came from dust, which it's mostly silicon, you know.
Yeah, you know, James Tour. If you try to pin him down on whether he believes in intelligent design, I believe he says he doesn't know, so he's agnostic. His whole thing is criticizing the scientists that go around and shoot their mouth off. Oh, they discovered. But, I mean,
how many intelligent design? Because I know I think you know from the clip I watched, which was funny as hell. You know, Dragon's like, okay, well, which intelligent design are you talking about? Because apparently there's several. There isn't just one. You know what I mean? People like Maddox would say intelligent design. Well, okay, which one? It's like, you know what I mean. This is why, you know, this is why I think people need to. Well, you know, I do try to study this stuff on the side, but yeah, it gets annoying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's time for them to pony up and tell us exactly when this intelligent design happened. Did it happen, you know, when the Big Bang happened, which is kind of what to steel man an old Earth creationist position, you would look at basically God created the Big Bang. He created the universe with natural laws in such a way that life developed, and that would be perfectly compatible with science.
Well, okay,
These
here's
boneheads.
here's the thing though. Like, like we don't god damn it. We don't know, like, as far as I know, like, maybe we figured it out or something, but we don't know what started the universe. All we really know is that, you know around, like, 380 million years, after the universe appeared, the dust cloud expanded.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So we don't know where it came from. We say, we say, people was like, oh, the prime mover, the first mover. Like, no, you don't. We don't know where it came from. There are many theories. That try. That say that our universe is either inside, or or on top of the event horizon of a 5D universe. Which, if that's true, that raises so many interesting implications about black holes in our own universe.
Yeah.
Because our universe is like, it's a 4D, well, technically 3D, because space and time are intertwined. You know what I mean? And if I remember correctly, the black holes in our universe have a flat, you have a flat event horizon. It is. I don't know. Have you ever read the book Flatland?
Yes, I have. I think
Oh,
when I was in seventh grade.
see. Here's the thing. I haven't finished that book yet, but I fucking love the premise of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I
think I
love it.
found out. I think I found that when I was like in seventh grade in our high school library in Mount Marion, Minnesota. It was pretty amazing that they had flatland there. Anyway, getting on. Smokey says we're steel man failing there. So the very best form of old Earth creationist, to me, would be that God created a universe in which life would develop naturally. So God should be very capable of creating a universe with a handful of laws from which chemistry will fall out, stars, the Earth, and life will develop.
Hold on. Funny. Oh, Smoking Saint. Oh my God, I love you, man. I fucking love you. You condescending.
I can't understand our arguments, and even okay. What the hell is your argument, Smokey? About let's get into it. What is your argument about old Earth creationists? When did the intelligence?
No, wait. Hold on. I want to address something, because he mentions me. Funny how Speed says we don't get it, but can't understand our arguments to even address them. Midnight, you are as sharp as a spoon. Why, thank you, Spooky. That is a compliment from you, because I know I'm stupid. Unlike you, who thinks he knows everything.
Well, should we have Smokey in? You want to come in, Smokey?
Honestly,
I don't.
No. You know what? Hold on. If you let him in here, I'm leaving. I don't feel like dealing with him tonight, or today, morning, whatever.
Okay, but I would like to know what an old Earth position would be. Like, what a really good one. To me, the very best old Earth position, God created a universe on which life falls out naturally. God is perfectly capable, the God that you talk about, being omniscient and omnipotent. He could create a universe with a handful of laws in which life would fall out of.
Actually, no. You know what? No. Look, here's the thing. You shouldn't let him in here purely for the fact how he treated you.
Yeah, that's a point. But
like, fuck off with that shit.
But I'd sure like to hear what he has to say about old Earth creationists.
Well, like I said, if you want him in here, I'll leave. It's your stream.
Yeah. What do you think?
If he wants to come in.
But I'm going to kick his ass out if he starts with his abusive stuff. Could and should are worlds apart. Could and should. I'm not sure what that means. Okay,
hold on. He could let you in here. Okay, he's going to. But should he is the point. You're right, because they are kind of worlds apart. He can. He has the ability to send you the link. But should he?
But
No. I got you. Actually, I'm okay. I'm spineless. Okay. You know what? Let him in here. Okay, I'm spineless.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. Let's see, Smokey. You're gonna have to stay on point if we do this. Let me see if I can find you. I'll get you the link. Hang on a second. Okay, so we have the link, and now we have to find you.
No, honestly, what the hell should I care what
Oh
some
my God!
piece of shit thinks of me?
Do you hear that phone ring? Let's see. One second. Okay, I'll let Smokey in and see if we can have a conversation.
You know what? I need to calm down.
Yep, calm down. Okay.
He needs 5 minutes.
Does he? Okay.
That's what he said.
Okay.
I really need to talk without anger.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I was trying to do this James Stewart thing. This is going to be fairly dissociated, but we kind of got off on the old Earth creationist track. But the point is with ID is that I believe. Let me see if I can put another drawing up here, and I'm going to stop my screen there. And I'm going to try to share something else. Let's see. Oh, production values.
You're still showing his comment on screen, by the way.
I am. Which one? Worlds apart.
Could and should are worlds apart.
Yeah. So let's see. Where's the important one? Let's see. Dumb trash. We got to get to my computer. Need about 5 minutes. Wasn't about that midnight. You're dumb trash. Okay. So he's calling you names already. So,
Wasn't about that midnight. You dumb. Okay. So midnight. You were. Okay. So wait. Hold on. What? Okay. What's it about?
I don't want this to turn into a shit show between you and him. Okay. So.
I mean, that's fine. Like, I shouldn't really care what he think. Oh, I'm spineless. Okay. Just because I would leave if you're in here doesn't mean I'm spineless.
Yeah. Oh, let's see here. We got a share screen.
Okay, my autism is making me focus on it. On what you're showing on screen. Could you remove the comment?
Yep.
Still see it.
I've been trying to. So what do you got here? Okay.
Well,
so
200 characters obviously sucks. You know what I mean? Discord, even though it's got 2,000 characters, is obviously better. In comment section is a lot better, but
yeah.
There we go. Oh, Jesus Christ! Thank you.
So I guess right here we have the Big Bang. And then, of course, everything pops out of that. And somewhere way the hell out here, and we're going to have to draw this out of scale, we have the Earth.
You're not really drawing anything.
What's that?
Oh, wait, there we go. It's not, it wasn't showing up on stream. I was looking at there we go. It fucking...
Probably takes a little while.
Yeah.
So then we have the creation of the Earth, basically.
Well, okay, YouTube deletes comments these days. Sometimes, yes, but I mean,
no, they don't. Do they?
It depends. YouTube is broken nowadays, but you know what I mean. It also depends on the user.
I don't know. I had some of my comments to John Maddox when I asked him for papers. They said they were deleted by the content provider. So there was that.
The content provider is obviously the person who runs the stream and owns the channel.
So Maddox deleted my comments when I asked him for papers for mRNA. Anyway, so then so basically we got this like timeline here, and we have where we are right now.
Wait, hold on. Can't you show like an actual image. Hold on. Let me find a better image.
Hey, I'm drawing. Okay.
Okay, fine. It's
I'm
your
drawing
stream.
pictures. I'm trying to explain something.
It's your stream.
Still. Okay. So anyway, this is where we are right now, right out here, right? So the ideas claim that intelligent design was injected somewhere in this process. Now, one place that it could have been injected is right here. So there's no reason why ID could not have been injected anywhere along this process. Right here, before there were stars, before there was hydrogen, ID could have been injected right here. An omnipotent God could have, used naughty words and comments. I mean, I've used all sorts of course, I haven't checked. Maybe my naughty words are being deleted. I don't know. I allow anything on my site, so any kind of naughty words, not a problem. But there's no reason. Okay, do you see any reason why intelligent design, really intelligent design, couldn't have been injected when the laws of the universe were created? And basically those laws would connect the dots all the way to life. Is there any reason why that was implausible? Midnight?
No, it's not really implausible because it's like,
Right.
okay, so
Actually,
if God exists, why couldn't he use the Big Bang? You know what I mean? Okay, it makes no sense because okay, God exists. He used the Big Bang. It took like 13.8 minus 4.5 billion. I'm terrible at mental math, but you know what I mean. Why couldn't God just use the beginning of the universe to create life over time? You know what I mean? Like it's like, oh well, because God is infinite power and it can do it in a snap of his finger. Which okay, but you're assuming a lot of this God. You know what I mean? Like,
well, yeah. I mean, he's omnipotent, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, based on the humanity's current understanding of the universe, if there is a God, he's confined within the limits of his own universe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Smokey's here, so chill.
I'll mute.
Hi, Smokey.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. So we're trying to steel man this old Earth.
Hold on. I got to switch my audio. Bear with me 1 second. All right. That's going to be better now. Okay. Good morning.
Okay. You see my diagram?
I do.
So we got the Big Bang right here, right?
Sure.
So, and then the Earth pops up here, and then we have us right here, life. So intelligent design frequently talks about somewhere in the process of life evolving into what we have today, that intelligent design was basically inserted at one or more positions here, right?
Yeah, we have to deduce where it was inserted.
Right. So my thought is, wouldn't it be better if we inserted it here? I mean, if I were a God, I would have created a universe that just created all of this.
Well, yeah, that's your analogy I think you gave in one of our conversations about the two artists, which is the better artist, right? The one that throws the paint at the canvas and it all falls down into place, or the one that actually throws it at the canvas and then paints at it to make it something. And right. That's just an arbitrary decision on what you think God should do. And again, this is not an issue of could, it's an issue of could and should. This is what Midnight wasn't quite getting, is when I was saying could and should. Right. It's your argument is all about coulds. It's all about coulds. It never takes into consideration.
To be fair, I thought you were talking about Smokey letting you in or not. That's my bad.
That's fine, Midnight. No, you guys see why I don't like doing this stuff in text. Like it's so easy to get these things confused. We don't know what the hell each other are talking about.
Right.
All right. So this is why I have that rule in my chat. You guys come in and you just make noise in chat, you get blocked. You come in, you want to have a conversation, you have a conversation. Now, I'll do this with anyone except for Ronnie. Ronnie, the rat roach racist. That's the only person I'm not going to do it for because he's running from a challenge on a moderated platform. But everyone else, I'll show up. I don't care.
Okay.
Well, I should point out that I do better in text and voice. I tend to get a little
You get
heated,
caught up.
even though you just because I stutter. You know what I mean? I can't get the words out right, so it seems like I'm pissed off.
I don't have anything against you personally, Midnight. Actually, I think your guys' streams are hilarious. It's a little bit of my private joy watching you guys kind of fumble your way through some of this stuff is hilarious to me.
Trust me, the feeling is mutual.
I imagine.
That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say.
I imagine that then we deal with matters of perspective, don't we? The issue with your thing there, Speed, is that you're arbitrarily deciding what God should do based upon what he could do. And the thing is that you're not really taking into consideration the identity of the character. You're just kind of operating from a generic, all-powerful, all-good, whatever type God.
Yeah,
it's not
the
actually
only one I know.
Well, you could say that, but that's not a real God. That's just a generic variable placeholder. That's not.
Okay.
I mean, you're not actually analyzing any God claims. You're just saying some generic God that I think would have to be like this. If he was like this, he would have to do this. Like,
well, to be fair, many people, and I'm using many a qualifier. Not all do believe in an all powerful, all good God. So can you
sure. Yeah, no, I'll clarify a bit. And this is kind of what I see the arguments kind of devolve to a lot these days, is it fixates on trying to focus more on this very generic God, which does end up being argued a lot in the science area. But when you start to switch into claims or challenges to the God himself, then you have to identify it. Okay? You can't just draw a general claims to a variable God. Just an invisible, the God claim has to be specific enough to actually be tested. Okay, you can't just do it. So, like, for instance, like let's take a comparison of, say, like the Islamic God and the Christian God. These are two very, very different gods based upon their character profiles and what they claim to be. Allah never claims to be outside of the universe or to be in a position to create the universe. In fact, as far as Allah goes, he basically just claims to create the earth, and that's about it. And to put, the stars are basically lamps in the sky to shoot Shaitan in the ass when he tries to reach the third heaven. This is the type of stuff that we see in their type of claims for their type of God claim. Then you have Judeo-Christian God claim, which is a claim of a God outside of known reality that began everything. And this is why the Judeo-Christian God amongst the other God claims has more coherence already at its start.
Okay, say that. So you're saying that the Judeo-Christian God was outside of reality and created everything?
Right. Well, outside of our known reality, outside of our universe, probably.
Okay, so why is that in? Let me put something out here first. The reason why I like this, starting it at the Big Bang, is because then science and religion agree completely, and the fight is over, and I can take my channel down, and we're done.
Well,
that's why I like it.
Yeah, I don't think it's that simple, though, Speed.
Well,
you have to deal with all the fine-tuning constants that were part of the Big Bang.
Well, yeah, he fine-tuned it in the beginning to create everything just the way.
Well, no, but he would have had to keep fine-tuning it. He would have had to keep fine-tuning it because because there's variables that would not have occurred naturally, probabilistically. Okay, so like the Big Bang, the amount of cosmic density, that's one of the fine-tuning. The amount of dark matter, the amount of dark energy. The specific expansion rate of the universe not being too fast or being too slow, the orientation of our specific placement of our specific galaxy in the universe, the placement of our specific solar system in that galaxy, the placement of the 9 planets around our sun to allow us to be able to exist, the specific intensity of the sun itself, the fact that life emerged exactly during this perfect little window of Earth's terrestrial history for complex life to be able to exist. These are all evidences of infusions of intelligence, design, and planning because it carries with it intention.
Okay, but that's just an idea. Why? Okay, like we have causality. Basically, when the Big Bang, when the expansion started, there was some sort of there was a mixture of densities. It wasn't pudding. Okay.
No, it was pudding. Yeah, it was ionized pudding.
No, you think it was pudding.
No, cosmologically, everything right after the Big Bang was nothing but ionized plasma. Okay, and there was no light, there was no dark. Everything was just a basically a vague glow. Okay.
Yeah, they don't even know if it was a singularity. I mean, it could have been.
Well, no, we can't see anything. We can't see anything past Planck time, but that's not relevant. It was the universe when it first expanded was extremely consistent. It needed to expand to a certain point to where things could start to clump and gravity could take shape and things could start to move together. But at the very, within the multiple instants, probably only seconds.
But you understand that if it was a perfect matrix like this, that there would be no clumping. What would be the reason for these two things to clump together rather than?
Yeah, that's just the nature of the universe.
There had to be a lack of attraction. There had to be a lack of homogeneity.
Right. Well, that's what I was saying. Once the universe expanded to a certain point, the matter and the elements and the radiometric isotopes, everything had room to separate and kind of relegate. And certain bodies started to collect small amounts of mass, and then they collected more mass to them, and so on and so forth. And we have the creation of stars, galaxies, planets, and so on and so forth.
Okay, so then we can say God fine-tuned at this point. So he created it to this point.
Okay, well, let's simplify, because here's the thing. I think you're trying to fixate too much on these specific points. Let's put it this way. Let's try to take it more big picture. If there's an instance where the naturalistic probability of the occurrence happening is outside the realm of mathematical possibility, it's coherent to assume, based upon probabilities, that it was some sort of agent outside of probability.
What is improbable?
Anything between the range of 1 chance in 10 to the 50th power to 1 chance in 10 to the 150th power is quantified as mathematically impossible.
And how do you know what these
Well, mathematicians have been quantifying these for years.
Not mathematicians. Anybody can write 10 to the 150th, right? Okay, you can just do that on the back of an envelope.
Well, no. The idea is
what really happened is not what you're going to write on the back of the envelope. We are stupid apes living out here. We don't know all of the probabilities. We don't know all of the
well, now you're just Speed, I'm sorry, but now you're just crapping on a whole field of science, which is statistics.
No, it's not even a field of science. It's back to the envelope.
It is. Mathematics is certainly most considered to be a field of science, and most science requires mathematics. And many times in figuring out conclusions, we base conclusions based upon probabilities, like the probabilities of whether something will happen or not naturalistically, which is what the argument always boils down to here. So your little lines there where you point to ID, is there a realistic probability that those things actually occurred probably naturalistically?
Yes.
Okay. What is your evidence for that?
What is your lack of evidence for that?
What
is your evidence against?
Yeah, now you're shifting the burden. See, what I'm saying is, but what you're doing is you're just ignoring my argument to try and keep yours. See, my argument is you now have, because I say this happening naturalistically is mathematically impossible. Okay, it's not something that's feasible for us to expect to just manifest in reality.
That is a claim.
Well, if you want to believe that something is naturalistically possible when it's mathematically impossible, that's on you. But I don't think that's a coherent position to take.
I don't know that it's mathematically impossible.
Why don't you research a little bit? Why don't you research a little bit and see what the odds and probabilities are, even for the generation of the first cell, or even the first amino acid, or even the 4 basic necessary amino acids for the building blocks of essential life? Why don't you go look at the naturalistic probabilities of those occurrences and see if you're actually believing something rational or just on blind faith?
Okay, we will get to that.
Because we can't. Here's the thing. I've heard your argument: plant a seed, let the seed grow. But here's your problem. What you're doing is you're saying, because we see some things naturalistically, everything is naturalistic. That's not an argument. That's
back up. You made a claim that it is mathematically improbable. Yes. Where did you get that information from?
Well, do you really want me to go pull references? I will. I'll go pull 10 of them. I'll go pull 10 of them that talk about, and even from secular sources, that talk about the improbability of, which one do you want? The improbability of the cell, the first protein molecule?
Oh my God. Okay, that's what you're talking about. Okay.
Well, which one do you want? The improbability of the cosmic density, the improbability of the solar fine tuning, the improbability of the solar system? I mean, which one do you want? Because there's thousands at this point. Which
that is
improbability do you want to
naive,
focus on?
back of the envelope calculations that are based on nothing, based on things we do not know. Basically,
Well, we know.
causality.
We do know something, Speed. We do know how things work in our reality enough to
We
know
how things
when.
are now.
What's that?
We know how things are now.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Did you get up this morning? You woke up this morning, right?
Well, I feel like we're really running away from the topic here.
No, we're not running away from the topic. We're bringing you back to this point where you think you know that it's improbable.
Well, no, yeah, you keep saying that. No, I don't know. You know. You're the one that claims to know. I'm the one that claims to believe on high probability. You're the one that claims to know.
I'm claiming we don't know the probabilities. We can't.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Well, do this part. You see this part right here?
That's an unscientific.
I wrote that number 10 to the 150th. We do not know that.
Yeah. No. They. Okay. Let me pull the mathematical impossibility paper for you if you really want to go this way with it. If you're really just gonna deny mathematicians now too on top of it.
Back of the envelope bullshit.
So you're saying all the mathematicians and scientists that are crunching these numbers are wrong, then, right?
Yeah. They're basically. It is. But they're wrong.
They're right about naturalism, though, but they're wrong about the probabilities of naturalism.
They're wrong about what they know.
So wait, no, you're not following me. They're right about naturalism. They're right about abiogenesis, but they're wrong about the mathematical probabilities of it.
No claim to know how abiogenesis happened has been made. No claim about naturalism has been made.
Well, yeah, no, the claim is, you
make the claim all the time.
You make the claim all the time, Speed, that naturalism explains everything.
I don't see why it wouldn't.
Well, because there's lots of things naturalism can't explain.
What?
So making the statement is like saying, the sky is green. I can look up and see the sky isn't green. I mean, it's just it's faulty on its face. It just makes
naturalism explain? I have a quick question. What can't naturalism explain?
The origin of life, the explosion, evolutionary convergence.
Naturalism can't explain, or we can't explain.
Naturalism simply cannot explain.
And why?
Well, because the naturalistic methods are impossible to provide what's needed for these things.
What? Back that up.
Okay. So you guys keep hearing us say, I don't know, you probably didn't even finish the James Tour interview, but we talked about your crystal paradigm, where you talk about microenvironments. Okay.
Which you misunderstood.
Well, James Tour addressed it, and he understood it.
He didn't understand it.
Well, are you referencing the same thing he was referencing, or something else about crystals? Is there a different crystal theory?
Something entirely different.
Is there what crystal theory are you referring to then?
Okay, we're way off.
I'm only familiar with one.
We're trying to figure out how you know that naturally.
No. Now you're running. Now you're running. Now you're wasting my time. I'll just leave.
No, you're wasting my time.
Then I'll leave.
Moving on to a different point.
No, I'm trying to get to a point. You keep running and jumping like the freaking Muslims. You guys never want to get cornered, because the moment you get cornered, you realize
that's exactly what I will accuse you of, sir.
Well, you know what, Speed? I'm the one making arguments. You're the one just running from them and throwing out ad hominems about people you don't even know, about theories you haven't even looked into. So I don't know.
I'm trying to get back to how you know that this is the number. How did you write that number down?
Okay, there is a paper, I'll go pull it, where they have crunched the odds and probabilities of what is considered to be mathematically impossible. 1 chance in 10 to the 50th is the low range. 1 chance in 10 to the 150th is the high range. Now, take whichever range you want. The odds and probabilities of the first cell coming into existence is 1 chance in 10 to the 100 billionth power.
And I'm telling you that paper and that methodology is bullshit.
Well, it's the same methodology that backs up your claim to abiogenesis, sir. So I don't think you should be calling it bullshit.
Let's back up. What is the probability that when you got out of bed this morning, you thought the first thought that you thought? Let's go through how many neurons you have.
That's an incoherent
how many neural connections. Do you follow what I'm doing here?
No.
I'm looking at back of the envelope probabilities, and I can prove that you are not here right now.
What you're doing is you're engaging in circular reasoning to try and support your point.
It
What
is
you're saying is because we're here, it works.
I'm drawing you back.
And because you thought it was 100% chance you were going to think it. See, what you're doing is you're just ignoring the realm of abstract possibilities to make your point. It's circular reasoning, and it's the type that atheists engage in, because you basically want to say, well, because we're here, I know it works. And that's not an argument.
Okay,
it's like saying, because we're here, I know God exists. It's not an argument.
You're missing the entire point. When you got out of bed this morning, we could start calculating probabilities for every molecule in your body. And we could do this 1 times 10 to the third, basically. So we got 10 to the third.
Okay, so is your question whether or not I would have a thought or whether or not I would have a specific thought?
A specific thought. Okay,
well, yeah, that's an astronomically huge number.
Right. Okay, so we have exactly the same situation. How do you
know? Because it could have been any of the other number of thoughts too.
How do you know that this thing didn't happen? Obviously,
Speed, this is what you're not understanding. The thought I had this morning could have been any of the other thoughts. Just because this one actualized does not mean it had the highest probability to actualize. That makes no sense.
Probability has nothing to do with causality.
It has everything to do with causality. What are you talking about?
Probability has to do with how you think about causality. It has nothing to do with what actually happens in the universe. What actually happens in the universe is based on all of those microstates.
When you roll a dice, you have a 1 in chance 6 to get one of those numbers that you pick. It's not now after you roll the dice
with what number pops up.
Hold on, stop.
Roll the dice.
After you roll the dice, you don't get to look at the dice and say, yep, it was 100% chance that number was going to come up. That's what you're doing.
No, I'm not talking about probability. Oh, I'm telling you it's bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. This is how you're trying to dismiss probability.
Envelope calculations.
You're trying to dismiss probability by focusing only on actuality. That's not okay. No one in science operates that way. No one. I dare you to find me one that ignores probability like you. Show me one. Show me one that goes through their dissertations or hypotheses and has absolutely zero reference to mathematical probability. Show me one.
Are you asking me to appeal to authority here?
I'm asking you to show me anything to back up your stance that probability is no part of science or no part of deduction or no part of induction.
You're asking me for somebody who agrees with me?
And sure.
Why?
I've given lots of sources of people that agree with me. Why can't you give me one?
You and I are talking. Why did... And as soon as I...
are you the authority then? Am I talking to the authority?
Hold on a second, Smokey. The other day when I brought up Yaki, after you asked me for authorities, you accused me of appealing to authority.
Who'd you bring? No, I didn't. I don't even know who the hell you're talking about.
Because you don't remember the conversation. It's on YouTube. I have a clip of it.
On whose YouTube?
I think I was on John Maddox. I came on for about 15 minutes and we were talking. Anyway.
Okay. And who did you reference? Who did you reference?
We're not going to give you authorities. Okay.
No, hold on. No. Now you already said you tried to give me authority and I rejected it, and now I'm compelled. So what is the authority? Tell me.
The authority was Hubert Yaki, who came up with a mathematical proof that we will never know how life started on this planet.
Okay. I wouldn't necessarily actually reject that.
You did.
No, I wouldn't.
You said I'm appealing to authority.
Oh, no. Okay, well, that would make sense. Because, okay, now I get it. No, maybe I would have said that, and here's why I would have said it. Because you did that in our previous conversation when we tried to reference PhDs. You said that I don't accept your appeal to authority. That you did that. So I returned it probably. That's most likely what happened.
Yeah,
but I don't actually reject even that statement that scientist, if that's what he's saying, I don't actually even reject that.
Anyway, we're not talking about authorities.
Well, I don't have an issue with authority, or you do. You're apparently the authority here. So you tell me how it works.
Okay, we're talking about causality and probability. Causality is actuality. It's the structure of the universe, the way the universe actually is crystallized at this moment through all of 4D space-time. Basically, there is one path, and that path has us at this moment, right here, exactly. Probability doesn't have anything to do with it. This is the die that we rolled. This is the hand that we dealt.
And if it had been rolled any other way, we wouldn't be here. That's the point.
And that is a human speculation about.
No, it's not. No, it's a matter of fact. In fact, if the cosmic density had not been fine-tuned in 1 part in 10 to the 60th power, there would be no matter in the universe at all.
And we wouldn't be here.
Exactly. And if the solar system hadn't been aligned perfectly, we wouldn't be here. If we didn't have the type of advanced radiometric isotopes because of the expansion of the universe at a certain rate, we wouldn't be here. If we didn't have our moon specifically aligned, we wouldn't be here. If we didn't have our right sun, we wouldn't be here. All these things that could have been something different. You just ignore.
If my toast were not buttered on the side it was, it wouldn't be buttered on the side it was.
Irrelevant. Because whether or not the toast is buttered on either side doesn't make the toast disappear.
Okay, here's what's happening here. Humans confuse themselves with probability and could have, should have, and would have, and that has nothing to do with the hand that's been dealt.
No, what you're doing,
that's been dealt.
No, here's your problem. What you've done is you've said, if there is a God, this is what he should do. And if this God does not do these things that I have decided he should do, that he doesn't exist.
Well, I don't believe in God, so this is...
Well, that's why. Because you believe that if God existed, he would do it your way.
Okay, if the universe existed, the universe would be as the universe is.
That makes no sense. That's that same circular argument all over again. We're here so...
Circular argument? Okay, if you deal a hand of cards, and the hand of cards comes up the way it comes up...
Speed, you're just repeating the same thing over and over again. You don't understand that a circular argument is useless. You're saying where you don't get to ignore the probability argument, which is one of the bigger things that scientists are struggling with today, because you want to say a circular argument solves it. We're here, so it works. We're here, so it's 100% probability we're here. That is an absolutely insane statement.
Okay. It's 100% probability that we're here. That's
a presupposition like Darth Dawkins uses. This is presuppositional apologetics from the atheist, is what.
Okay, where is the circularity in this? Here
okay, we're here, so there's 100% chance we'd be here, right?
Right.
Okay, so we're here, so whatever it is that led us here just works.
Yes.
And I believe it's naturalism.
Yes.
This is your argument.
Well, what naturalism is a bunch of things that were arranged in a certain way in the beginning, and then some things happen, causality, and we end up here, right where we are.
And we argue what that, okay, fine, perfect. You know what? This is a good diagram. We can use this. What is the causality?
What is the causality?
Yes.
The structure of how things get from one point.
And how do you know that?
How do you know that?
Yeah. See, because the issue is the causality. See, because you're saying the causality is naturalistic. I don't know how it's naturalistic, but it is natural.
I don't believe in causality.
And I'm saying the causality is a causal agent. That makes the most sense.
That makes the most sense to you, that there's another agent out here that's causing...
No. The causality, sir, you're taking yourself out of your own diagram I'm trying to use. That arrow is the causality. The arrow. I'm saying that arrow is the causality. You're saying this causality, that arrow creates things. And I'm saying that arrow is the intelligent agent. You're saying it's naturalism.
Okay.
You get it?
We start right here, right? We start right here with a certain set of things in a certain way, and they have perhaps a motion, right? Okay, so they're moving along. So this billiard ball hits that billiard ball.
How are they moving? How are they moving? What moved them? Because things don't move on their own. So what moved those things?
Well, okay, now we got to do this. Okay, there's no such thing as movement. There is.
Okay, hold on. Time out. Speed,
okay,
speed.
You know what?
Hold on a second.
We're just going to get ridiculous now. You know what, guys?
No.
You know what?
Hold on a second.
Midnight, it's good. You know what? I was expecting it to go this level of ridiculous. I have better things to do this morning. You guys have a good morning. Okay, take care.
Bye.
Okay, speed.
Yep.
Here's the thing. Never, and I mean never, say that to somebody who doesn't understand quantum mechanics. Okay? Please. Just please, for the love of fucking God, never bring that up. I'm done.
Okay. and fish. You out there walking fish? When'd you come in? Okay, anyway.
I honestly felt like you two were talking past each other, and I'm like, you know what? Just
Well, no, I couldn't get him to focus on what his initial claim was, that it was improbable, and he wanted to talk about amino acids and all this bullshit. And I'm trying to talk about the Big Bang.
I cannot wait to start my fucking semester in September on philosophy. Oh, I'm gonna learn so much.
Hopefully. Hopefully just a walking fish will come in. But I mean, that was, just ridiculous. He's just claiming that, things can't happen because we wrote some probabilities on the back.
And I don't know. Yeah, and I don't know what I don't know whether you saw my comments in the chat. Maybe you did, but ignored them. But it's like, okay, so honest question here: what does it matter? Whether we're here by chance or created? Like you still get up in the morning. Yeah, it's an interesting philosophical question to ponder. Right. And then I said that, okay, to me, like people who say that that if we weren't created, then humans have no value, legit scare me. Okay, I am not even bullshitting here, because it's like, you know what? You keep your religion, you keep your belief in God. Okay, because if you didn't have that, you'd be out killing and raping people, because to you, they have no value in a godless universe. I'm done.
Okay. Does it matter whether we came here by chance or right? And that's what I'm saying. And the only place that matters is right here. Is if these guys are going to deny all of science, and they're going to say that God was tinkering along this entire line here, then we got a fucking problem, okay? And then we need a channel to explain why their science is bullshit. We got Walker in here.
Like, I feel like many people are just afraid. You know what I mean? They fear, like, well, if we're here by chance, then what is the point of living? Like.
So what did you think? Did you think I was running from him, or was he running from my?
Well, I mean, fear. Technically, it's your channel, so he was the one running.
Hello, by the way. Sorry, yeah, I'm outside, so if there's too much background noise, I'll just mute myself or something. Just let me know. I just woke up, so I'm still a bit groggy.
You seem okay.
What was I gonna say? Oh, I mean, I feel like I don't know. My whole position on this is, even if it is completely unlikely, and it's like a 1 in an unfathomably large chance that it happened. Okay, well, if it happened anywhere else, don't you think that same group of whatever intelligent life evolved would be wondering the exact same thing? You know?
Exactly. So,
like, and also he started. Oops.
Sorry, to use the puddle analogy, even though it's probably a bad analogy. Like, okay, we're one puddle among many possible puddles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I was saying to him. He was saying, "Oh, it's so improbable that it happened." Well, when you start talking about something that is happening, that is occurrent, that actually happened, and then you start working out the probabilities about how it could have, or could not have happened, all you're doing is a back of the envelope probability calculation, and you, as a human ape, are applying the idea of probability to what actually happened. So I was trying to get him to understand how improbable it is that he got out of bed this morning and ended up talking to me. I mean, you can work on probabilities on that. I could start with just what his neurons are doing, and I would end up way beyond 10 to the 150th. And we could say, okay, it could not have possibly happened without intelligent design, because obviously Smokey's here, right? Did I make that clear? If
you were breaking up that whole thing for me.
What's that? Go ahead.
Oh, I said you were breaking up that whole thing for me.
Oh,
like
really?
I didn't catch a word you said.
Oh shit.
Yeah, okay. Midnight, did you?
Okay.
Yeah, so, I kind of heard him, but I was zoning out. It's not just you.
Okay.
It's not you. Not you, Speed. I'm just like looking through various things.
Okay.
I'm muting.
Okay, so my fucking students fell asleep during the lecture.
No, I wasn't asleep. It was just it was like popcorn,
No, I
dude.
wasn't sleeping either. I was just just looking at the game. Fuck off.
Okay, let me do it again. Okay, so I deal a hand of cards out of all of the possibilities that there could be, and you know that it's astronomical. And I get this hand of cards, and then I sit there and I say, "Oh, what is the probability that I dealt an ace for that first card?" And I go back and I do the calculation. What is the probability of the second?
If the cards are 52, wouldn't it be 1 in 52?
Well, I'm not going to do math this morning. Sorry. But anyway, so
Okay, well, whatever.
it's highly improbable that you deal any particular hand of cards out of 52 cards. And then if humans see the five, they see 4 aces and a one-eyed jack, they'll say, "Oh my God, that is impossible. That could not have happened because of the improbability of it happening."
Yeah.
But that has nothing to do with what happened. How improbable something is has nothing to do with what happens. It only has to. Probability is involved in predicting the future. As apes, we like to predict what's going to happen, so we'll work out the probabilities. We don't know. We have there's this uncertainty about what is going to happen next, right? So we work out probabilities and try to figure out if we can constrain what is going to happen next. But what has already happened is as improbable as anything you could imagine. I mean, the number is not just 10 times 10 to the 150th. It is much higher than that we are here doing exactly what we're doing. This is the nature of the universe as it is unfolding. So is that clear?
Yeah.
Probability is to predict, not to retrodict, as creationists love that word.
Yeah. And I think it's very irresponsible to try to even assign probabilities on stuff that we don't know the variables for.
Exactly. And that's what I was trying to tell him. And he said, "Oh, that's circular reasoning." The fact.
Well, I would love to see like an actual study. He said he had a source, and I wish you would ask him for it. I want to see an actual study where any scientist is trying to assign a probability to it. Because you won't find it. Dude, I'm trying to find estimations of the masses of proboscideans that died out like 1 million years ago, and I can't even find that because scientists hate guessing. Like, they cannot stand guessing. So if they tried to assign probability to anything, they'd literally just be pulling it out of their ass.
My headphones fell off.
Like, no one... Oh, you're good. But no one would want to put their name behind that.
Right. Well, Kunin did a little thing in the back of his book. Let's see, where is it? It's in one of the appendixes. It's in The Logic of Chance. And he did this little back-of-the-envelope calculation. And that back-of-the-envelope calculation is what John Maddox uses in a lot of his lectures. And I'm trying to find it here. It comes from The Evolution of Cosmos and Life. And he's got a lot of, let's see, where the heck is it? I think it's in Appendix B. The Evolution of the Cosmos and Life, Eternal Inflation, Many Worlds in One. And he talks about, he does this back-of-the-envelope calculation of probabilities. So he does it. But he's kind of doing it to make the point that our being here is extremely improbable, right?
Yeah.
My being who I am, or having these thoughts, or having this conversation right now, judging, like if I had got up and tried to decide where my day was going to go, and I did a back-of-the-envelope calculation, I would have come up with it being absolutely impossible. That's all I could have done back then, because of all the things that I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
So anyway,
yeah, I mean, like the there's that whole thing, like the butterfly effect, right? Where it's a minor action can have major repercussions purely through chance and all that, and just random interactions going on and cascading.
Cause and effect, basically.
Yeah, we know how that works. So
but
basically,
also,
I was trying to come up with this one idea that religious people and scientists would quit fighting if they would quit trying to say that God had an effect all the way along this line here, right? I mean, that, God was tinkering. What kind of stupid God would create a universe right here that he had to tinker with the whole way down? So what I'm trying to do, so this would be one position, one old Earth position. You can pick this spot at the Big Bang, and you could say this is where God lifted his hand. He pushed this whole cosmos in motion, and we had all of these clusters of galaxies and whatever, and he let it fly, and it created life. Does anybody not understand that?
I mean,
wouldn't it be nice if we could all just fucking get along?
Yeah.
well, I mean, the issue comes with some people think the universe is young and radiometric dating is wrong, and scientists are just. I give up.
This thing is weird.
I mean, yeah, there was one point where he was listing off all the things that would have had to be finely tuned. And yeah, I guess they would have had to have been very specific for our place in the universe to be what it is, right?
Right.
But that doesn't.
If you have like a billion universes, like what are the chances one of them would have, the specifications, the finely tuned, the variables,
Yeah.
just good enough, just specific enough for life to evolve. Like I don't get. Oh well, we're here, so that means the finely tuned. Like, are you that afraid of probability?
I know. Okay.
Yeah. Well, like there were certain things he was saying, like oh well, we have to be in a specific spot in our galaxy has to be in a specific spot in the universe, and we have to be in a specific spot within that galaxy, and Earth has to be in a specific spot in the solar system, and it's like, no. For it to turn out exactly how it did, yeah, all that has to be true.
Okay,
There's other planets with habitable zones anywhere else in the universe.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I like to point out something. I'd like to point out something that even though life, is habitable, life exists on this planet. This planet is still hostile, to life. Just because we're here, it doesn't mean we're all hunky dory and we're safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know whether I explained that right, but we're here, so that means we're special, or no, even on planet Earth alone, it's what I mean. There are many hostile environments for for humans. Like just I hate stuttering. Just because there are certain forms of life, that can survive those, like the extremophiles, it doesn't mean we can. Like maybe through genetic engineering, we can somehow find a way to make ourselves extremophiles. That'd be interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, survivability is definitely a gradient, and because of evolution, we're not adapted to survive in like thermal vents.
Right.
Yeah. At least
that's not. What were we saying?
I'm trying to figure out how my argument is circular. So basically, we have space time. So
I guess you're presupposing that reality exists. Therefore, it's circular. I don't know.
I'm presupposing that I'm here right now. So this is what I'm presupposing, that I am here. Okay, and we have a three-dimensional universe, but we're doing it in 2D because I don't have a three-dimensional drawing pad. I haven't hooked up my Quest yet. I told you I would find you, or you could find the image of the Big Bang, like that nice image that they show, so you didn't have to draw. Yeah. Anyway, screw that.
Wow. Okay.
I know you don't like my drawings, but
I never said I didn't like your drawing. Don't put words in my mouth. You dick.
Okay, why is this circular? I am here. Therefore, I am here. Okay, so we have a 2D. We basically have 2D, and we have another dimension right here. And I forgot to lock my drawing. Okay, I have another dimension right here, which is time. So basically, if you look at the block universe, you look at everything that happens, that has happened, and that will happen, is basically in a causal structure. And what causality means is just where everything is. It doesn't have anything to do with one thing causing another. So we're outside of time now. We're looking at a 4D universe. So we're looking at the structure of the universe. All of these things made me here right now. Why is it circular to say that it is 100% probability that I am going to be here where I am right now? I am obviously here. Are you guys here?
Yeah.
Well, I think I'm here. Although albinos are not real people, so I don't know if I'm here.
Yeah, we probably can't. Can people see through you?
Anyways, look, thanks for having me on, Smokey, wherever you are. You know what? Continue to laugh at us. We'll continue to laugh at you. There you go. Like,
there you go.
That's beautiful. You know what I mean? Just a good old fashioned laugh-a-thon. Because you think we're ignorant, we think you're ignorant. There you go. Like, everybody's ignorant.
So those guys mentioned me in chat 282 times yesterday.
Jesus.
The speed of pudding thing on standings.
Yeah, speed of this, speed of that, speed of this. 282 times they said speed.
Why did you quote unquote chicken out of that?
Chicken out?
Well, no. I said why did you quote unquote chicken out of that? Because you were supposed to have.
Why is he claiming you chickened out?
No. Because hold on. From the very beginning, I told Standing, no, I am not doing it at 9 o'clock tonight, and I am not doing it on your channel. And he wouldn't listen to me. You saw the email stream, right, Fish?
Yeah, you showed me.
I didn't. Okay, but
I said no about 6 times, and the son of a bitch wouldn't listen to me.
Yeah, this is why I put run away, quote unquote. You know, I mean,
run away. I never agreed to show up. I mean, I wanted to schedule it. Oh, hang on a second, guys. I have something to tell you. Otangelo reached out to me, and he is going to have a one-on-one conversation with me on my channel, and we're trying to work out a date right now. And he basically said, "Why can't we just all get along and have a nice discussion?" So we are.
That actually sounds great. Yeah.
And that's what I agreed to yesterday. And then
I'm excited for that.
Standing for Truth is somebody who likes to push people around and push people into things that they're not willing to do. Particularly, he likes to push you to 9 p.m. or later at night. And I just said, "Fuck you! I'm not doing it." And he went ahead and he did it anyway. And he put it up. And then they made this. And then they mentioned me 282 times because I didn't show up for something that I was being basically railroaded into. He railroaded me the last time with John Maddox, and I'm not going to let it happen. In fact, I'm done with his channel and all of their channels.
John Maddox or Standing, or both?
All of them. I'm not going to appear on creationist channels. Maybe later, maybe in the future when I calm down a little bit. But for now, I have fucking...
But, yeah, anyways, thanks for having me on, Speed. Always a pleasure.
Okay. Thank you, man.
Or whatever. See ya.
Bye.
See ya.
So anyway, okay, so I don't know how we got onto all this. We were starting with James Tour, and we got into this old Earth Big Bang thing, and I was trying to explain that I have this idea of, I mean, who doesn't have this idea that God just, could have just created the universe at the moment of the Big Bang and it unfolded the way it should, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's like the whole thing with most, I guess, evolutionary creationism, theistic evolution, that kind of, like those realms of Christians who are, in my opinion, like, yeah, I really, if you're theistic evolutionist, evolutionary creationist, that's fine. You're not really contradicting any science,
Yeah,
I have no problems.
My complaint about these guys who think they're doing science, James Tour and all these guys, is that they will never tell us where ID intervenes. They'll just say, "Oh, it did." It did somewhere, but where?
Well, James Tour is doing legitimate science. He's, I think he is a pretty prominent organic chemist.
He is. He is amazing.
Yeah.
He's, in his field of nanotechnology, he is probably.
Yeah. Was he the dude that made the buckyballs express wave properties?
I'm not sure. I think he made nano cars or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember I went to Rice, toured it and stuff. and I almost went there.
Really?
Yeah, cool guy. But yeah, I remember that was one of the craziest things because I went to like their natural sciences presentation whenever I was touring and stuff.
Yep.
And that was one of the things that they were mentioning. They were talking about like his research on like quantum stuff,
Yeah. Yeah. So
quantum
he's
properties of
amazing,
macromolecules.
but he's a believer. And then when he's talking about biology, I mean, there are a lot of physicists that tend to talk about biology, like Penrose, and they're out of their element. They're no better at it than we are.
Yeah, there's this joke. I've seen it somewhere, probably like on some list of like Rational Wiki or Pandastum or something, where it's like you know, the more creationist the people are, the more likely they are to be an engineer. Because, you know, the people with at least biological degrees, you know, you can count on two hands how many people actually have relevant degrees and are still arguing for like creationism, specifically young Earth creationism, right?
Right.
So like young Earthers, you have like George Purdom, John Sanford, Nathaniel Jeanson, Michael Behe, I think, as well, and then Kevin Anderson. That's it. That's all I can think of. And then for the old Earthers, you have like Faz Rana. I think he has a relevant degree. I don't even know.
Biochemistry. There are you'll find that a ton of engineers will believe that basically they're creationists and they believe it was engineered. And then you look at biochemists and less of them, but still a significant amount will say that, you know, it was designed. But then you look at molecular biologists who deal with basically molecule soup, and they will infrequently claim that it's designed. So it's kind of interesting that, and what you can see is that we're just doing this anthropic thing. It's like, because I make things, obviously God made the universe. I mean, it just doesn't connect. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Did you watch this 20-minute tour thing?
No, not all of it. I mean, basically, they kept just going back and forth saying, it's probable, right? And then James Stewart would be like, yep, it's improbable. And then they would just sort of do that in a circle for like 15 minutes.
Right. They were talking about all the things that are improbable. Racemic mixtures, 20 amino acids, that the sugar molecules ended up exactly the way it was.
Yeah.
And my counter to this is the fact that it's not like that there weren't those amino acids, that there wasn't that chirality, that there weren't those sugars, is how life happened. Life happened because of all these microstates. Because there were not 20 amino acids, there were probably hundreds of them. And they were not basically all L amino acids, they were a mixture. And that complexity is what led to all of these quadrillions of microstates that created a network of probability or causality, and life found its way through that network, basically. From one island to the next, from one node to the next, it connected. So every time they say that something is not pudding, that something is like this massive mess of many different things, they are finding in favor of abiogenesis. Did I make that clear?
Did you make that with your conversation with Smokey, or did you make it clear like just now?
Just now.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So the more crazy molecules we had back then, the more probable it was that life was going to find that pathway of causality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I really don't know too much about like abiogenesis research and all that. I understand like chemistry, but not, I guess, like what all would have had to happen. To me, actually, abiogenesis was more or less like the last thing I accepted after leaving creationism. I falsified deism in my mind just through a basic Occam's razor, and then I was like, all right, well, I guess abiogenesis is the only alternative, you know.
The weird thing
I didn't even really,
The weird thing is I haven't accepted it either, because I don't know how it happened. Yeah, I don't know how it happened.
Yeah, I always think just claiming something is offhandedly impossible is a bad argument.
Know how it happened.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say, I sort of retract my statement because I'll say certain things about like young Earth creationism are impossible, but that's because we have much better evidence of what has happened in the past 5,000 or 6,000 years than we do what's happened in 4 billion years ago, 5 billion years ago.
Yeah, I mean, there are things you could say are impossible, basically.
Yeah, and even then, when I say impossible, I mean like impossible unless, or it's impossible if we take everything we know to be true or real, right? Like, there's always last Thursdays. I mean, you can't necessarily falsify it.
Right.
But it's a useless claim.
Yeah, I think it's impossible for me to leave my seat right now and float up to the ceiling. But then, am I absolutely certain of that? No.
Yeah. Exactly. We could be living in the Matrix and figure out how to manipulate gravity by downloading something.
Yeah.
I feel like the reason a lot of your argument, or I guess your discussions with Smokey in particular, more so than Maddox, because Maddox is just an ass, is because you sort of like you refuse to grant him any points, and at that point he just gets sort of like turned off to anything you're saying.
Right. Yeah.
I feel like you get into like a semantic mode sometimes.
Well, what could I have granted him? He was talking about this improbability, his back of the envelope calculation. And then when I started talking about that, he wanted to talk about something else.
No, I agree. I just mean like, the thing that made him leave, the whole thing, like, is this billiard ball moving or something like that? And you're like, no, it's not moving. Huh? It's like, he's just he's using this to establish a point. Like, if you're not letting him actually get his arguments out, then I guess it's kind of understandable why he'd get frustrated. That usually doesn't happen until like after 20 or 30 minutes of argument.
Yeah, and I do that because all of a sudden I'll be thinking in the outer game that basically when you're talking about movement or causality in a 3D universe with time, I'll start thinking of the block universe where there's no such thing as movement or time, or movement or causality. There's only the structure of how things are. And I can't, I guess I'm OCD. So yeah, you're right. I probably should have granted him that. But if I granted him that,
and it's just like smaller stuff whenever he's trying to build analogies,
Right. I was afraid.
Although I would also say analogies aren't arguments. So
I could see that. I could see the conversation heading to the block universe at some point. So I didn't want to grant that at that point.
Okay.
So it's like, because then it's like a checkmate. So, but that's, that is my failing. I need to, I should never be allowed to talk to other human beings.
No, you're good. Yeah, I think your discussions are always pretty good. And I never think you're necessarily wrong. I just think sometimes, like, I've noticed this is what Erica does whenever she's discussing with creationists. She'll always be like, even if it's something that she's pretty confident about, but if a creationist like says a paper, she'll be like, oh, I don't know, I'll have to look into that. And these little like seeds will give people a little bit more comfort, right? And I think comfort is really where people start discussing, like, honestly. If you get someone on the defensive, they're not going to be honest.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
You're correct.
That's just my thoughts. I'm not nearly smart enough to have the discussions that you're having. So, in all fairness,
I think you are. But
yeah.
Do you want to listen to part of this? Or go ahead.
Sure. Oh, I was just going to say the thing that Smokey, I really want to get Smokey somewhere and just talk about like evolution, void of abiogenesis, void of religion, like no metaphysics discussion, no chemistry discussion. I just want to talk about what he thinks about evolutionary biology, because that thing he said about convergent evolution is just wrong.
Yeah.
And I don't think he understands evolution very well.
No, he doesn't. But he'll have you on his channel.
Yeah, but if I go on his channel, he's probably just going to start trying to talk about metaphysics and why I'm philosophically wrong. And it's like, no, I'm not talking about philosophy.
Sometimes.
Because that's what he generally does.
Yeah, but sometimes you can have a discussion with him. So,
okay.
Like when the first few talks I had with him were pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I just feel like normally if he's not familiar with something, he'll shift the discussion away to something he's familiar with. Yeah. Right? And since, I know for a fact he's not familiar with evolution, he would try to get it to abiogenesis, most likely.
I'm trying to
And
bait you. I'm trying to bait you into going on Smokey's channel because I'm gonna go make myself. I'm gonna go make popcorn,
yeah,
and I'm just
yeah,
gonna
maybe
sit
one of
back.
his like open discussion nights. We'll see.
Yeah,
Yeah, he said something like naturalism can't explain convergent evolution,
right.
and I was like, what does that even mean?
Well, he said
Why not?
naturalism. Okay, his
Uh,
whole thing. He said naturalism cannot explain life. When I asked him how he knows that, he started coming back with Kunin's back of the envelope calculation about the improbability of life. And
Yeah.
that's where we started, and I wanted to keep drawing him back to that and asking him, how in the fuck do you know those numbers? How are you plopping those numbers into those variables? I
Yeah.
don't know how they think they can do that.
Yeah, that's my thing, and it's evident. Like I was saying earlier, Kunin didn't. I mean, he published that in a book, but he didn't publish it in a paper, and it would fail peer review. Like
Oh yeah.
that you can't publish baseless calculations. And even if you're having, even if you're one of the most qualified and intelligent people on it, and you're making like reasonably educated assertions, at the base they're still assertions.
Well,
They're not.
Go ahead.
Oh, good. Oh well, I was just gonna say, like, at the end of the day, it's all speculation. But
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The creationists love to cite Kunin's this book, the Logic of Chance, page 391, where he and that's where he refers to that appendix. But he starts going on. He starts waxing poetic about multi-world hypothesis and about how if there were an infinite number of worlds, then it had to happen. So that's kind of the point he was making. But he says things like. What the hell is it? What do they like to quote? Despite many interesting results to its credit, when judged by the straightforward criterion of reaching or even approaching the ultimate goal, the origin of life field is a failure. So that's what he says on 391. Then he goes on to say, certainly this is not due to a lack of experimental and theoretical effort, but to the extraordinary intrinsic difficulty and complexity of the problem. That's what they never read you. They never read you the third sentence. That is in the same paragraph. Then he said, not everything is bleak. Major props for the origin of life have been discovered. And he goes on and on. There's more.
Yeah. And I definitely agree with that,
Yeah. But they like to cherry pick those quotes, and they like to cherry pick his calculations. Maddox likes that Appendix B. He saw it printed, I think, in AIG, because I doubt he owns the book or has checked it out of the library. So I don't know. So this thing, James Torty, now you haven't listened to it yet?
Not all the way through. I made it through like maybe 5 minutes. I was surprised with how short it was. I was expecting at least an hour out of the guy.
I know he didn't really have a lot of time to give him, and he really didn't give him his best shot. So he could have been a lot better. I don't know. People are trying to talk to me. Who's trying to talk to me? Oh my God. I have a phone call.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think, are you free tonight?
Yeah, I'll be free tonight.
Okay, we should go through this and the after show and a bunch of other stuff and just take a look at a bunch of it. I mean, there's so much there to look at that I'll try to highlight some of the good stuff. Like I think I have, what do we have here?
The Kent Hovind's, the Dr. Dan after show.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, that was hilarious. I watched like 15 minutes of Maddox's live stream just because I was curious about what they were saying, and you did terrible in a debate when even most of the creationists are saying like, yeah, he didn't do the best.
Yeah, right.
That's what I thought was funny. I was kind of surprised. I mean, Jungle Jargon, he didn't really comment on Kent. He just sort of said like, oh well, Dan brought up the exact same things he said to me, which because they're true. And then, so C. Brown was like the first one to say it. And he was like, yeah, well, I mean, I agree with Kent. I love Kent, but he didn't present himself in the best light. And I was like, wow, okay, C. Brown said that. Like, first one out of the gate.
Yeah, I heard that part. That kind of amazed me too.
Yeah.
But anyway, I was talking about what happened last night with the After James Tour thing right here, and then the
okay.
Yep. And then they had the debate that Standing for Truth tried to push me into, and he had some really interesting discussions around here with Pete Angelo, I think it is. Mm-hmm. Was that his name?
Otangelo?
Not Otangelo, but it was somebody else. Pete Angelo.
I don't know. If this was on the James Tour after show, I didn't see it.
Okay, it was
last night.
This guy, Pete Tango 101, and David Neff. They did a really good job. And at one point, Standing for Truth became a little irritated, and it was kind of interesting. But I'll try to bookmark those, and we can talk about them tonight.
Okay.
We'll see if we can come up with something coherent. And I might do some other stuff today because I'm motivated now to. I mean, even if the content is crappy, I've got to start talking about my ideas, or they're never going to coalesce and gel. So
yeah. What I always do is if I ever come up with an idea, I have a notebook on my phone where I just write down ideas, and then if I have free time, I'll open a Google Docs and just start jotting down what that entails. But I don't know. I think my brain works more in a writing way, whereas yours is more of a drawing.
Right, I have to draw, not write. If I write, it has to be bullet points. So I have to engage my draw brain. But I've got big, huge white sheets of paper everywhere in this room, on every table, and I have whiteboards everywhere. And every time something happens within 2 feet of me, I have something to write on. So
okay,
which helps. Anyway, I did not expect this to be a stream. I was going to go through this tour thing, and then Athena stopped in, and we went sideways, and then Smokey stopped in, and
okay.
But anyway, tonight maybe we could do it a little bit earlier, like 8 p.m. Central. Is that possible?
I can do any time. I think honestly, Immutable just hates anything before 8 or 9. But yeah, I'm fine with anything. I can start at 7 or 8 if you want.
Yeah, and I think for compromise, I think it's time that he accepts my time. Right?
Yeah. I mean, that's fair. He's usually the one that dictates it, and then he's still 30 minutes late.
Right, and after what Standing for Truth tried to do to me last night, I'm sort of becoming stubborn. So,
fair enough.
Okay, we'll see if we can do it earlier. Anyway, okay, I'll see you tonight.
All right. Well, you're still live, right?
Yeah, I am. I'm going. I'm saying goodbye.
Oh, okay. Goodbye, chat.
Okay, hang on for a second.